Hello. Tuesday night crime. And we have some things to discuss today. I've got a couple of updates on cases that we are already familiar with. But the first case that I would like to start with tonight, after saying hello to Shill in the chat, it's nice to see you, and Sean Coffey, and all of those that I can see are listening behind the scenes but not talking. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Um, this first case that I'd like to talk about isn't even a case yet because no arrests have been made. But you may have been following it in the media. It's been all over the socials, seen it's all over television, news medias, the papers, you name it. Mostly because of where it was and what it was. And what I'm speaking on is the body parts, the dismemberments, the body parts that were found in Babylon, New York, in Suffolk County. Not very far from Gilgo Beach, which some of you may recognize as the location of the bodies that were found that Rex Harriman, accused of being the Long Island serial killer, where that dump site was with multiple bodies. I'll show you in the presentation that the actual first location where they found the bodies is about 17-20 minutes away from Gilgo Beach, not very far. But because of the area that it's in, and we're still dealing with Suffolk County, the Suffolk County Police Department, in the state police in that area, known to be, as we read and confirmed in the area, known to be a dumping site, that general area for crime and bodies, mostly gang related and drug related. There's been a large influx there with MS-13, allegedly, of course. Nothing's actually been affiliated to. But let's just talk first about what hit the news. What hit the news this week? Last Thursday, February 29th, a group of students was walking towards the high school in Babylon, New York, right near Southard's Pond Park. The high school is quite close to it. They're walking through there. And one of the students noticed a body part. Kind of got upset, called their father. The father came to where they were, verified, yes, that's a limb, called the police. And so the search started. On that day, Thursday, February 29th, they confirmed that it was, first officers on the scene actually confirmed that it was a body part, and then called in the cadaver dogs because the body was not intact and a search needed to be done, of course. And all totaled, they discovered throughout this large park, which is more than a mile, there's the east, west, north, south, they found 6 body parts, 6 dismembered limbs, 5 dismembered limbs rather in the head. Okay, and I'll go through all the body parts that have been. They are reported now and confirmed by law enforcement, suspected to be, they have identified the woman but not released her name. The body parts belonging to a 59-year-old woman. And they do believe the other body parts belonging to a 53-year-old male that they are known to associate with, in that they can have said that they lived together in Yonkers, New York, but they don't know when the last time that they were there. Now that Yonkers is quite a bit away from here. Okay, that's just outside. That's 30 minutes outside of New York. Quite a while, quite a distance from when these body parts have been found. Now, more has happened since then, but first let's talk about the Thursday incident. In that incident, they did find the first body part that was found was a severed left arm, believed to belong to the woman. Has been this is all through the coroner's office. They next found the upper part of a leg also belonging to the woman. They found a right arm believed to belong to the woman, in a head also belonging to the woman. They then discovered a left knee, the no, a part of a leg from the knee down, actually, another part belonging to the woman. Then they found an arm. They found an arm belonging to the male. In of note, they say the arm has tattoos. There are pictures that are blurred out that are on the internet now with some of the news organizations um, showing them. I didn't want to put the arm up. There's tattoos on there. Okay. Um, there's tattoos on there that may lead to the identification. And I'm sure that people will be giving hints, clues as to the identification of the male. He has not been confirmed yet that we know, but even if so, they are keeping the identity secret until family members have been identified, which of course we would all want. You don't want everything out there. The last thing you want to do is find out on the internet something like this has happened to a loved one or anyone you know. Um, the reason I'm talking about this case mostly is I'm not really into the goriness of something like this. I am a little I am a little intrigued in regards to the closeness to Long Island, to the Giggle Beach body dump area. And you'll see why when I bring up the map in a little bit. But also, what really caught my attention was the amount of misinformation that is out there right now on this case alone. Okay, mass media itself has reported several arrests repeatedly over the last day or so, which have not been confirmed by law enforcement at all. As a matter of fact, they will only confirm the things that happened afterwards. It took all day and night on Thursday into Friday to find the 6 body parts that they are labeling as belonging to 2 victims, a man and a woman, a man of 53, estimated to be 53 years of age. And they pretty much think they may have an identification on them, but they're not positive yet. It hasn't been confirmed. The 59-year-old woman, they are saying they have identified her based on what they have found. However, they haven't released any identities, So that part has all been confirmed by law enforcement. They also are putting out there to the citizens in the area that it looks like in isolated incidents that the actual crime, the murders in dismemberment, did not happen in the park or in the vicinity. It does believe that everything was transported there. So, like, they did not want anyone to be unnecessarily worried in the area. Of course, something so violent happening, of course, everybody is a little bit upset in everything. But it's so close to schools and parks in where people are congregate largely that they wanted just to release that right away, that they did. There is what I would call some speculation, but some sources, some of the media is reporting that sources has confirmed, 2 or 3 sources they're saying have confirmed that they do believe that this may have been a domestic issue, that the murder was occurred by someone who's known to either the woman or the man, and that it could have been a love triangle or some kind of domestic situation that incurred this violence. There are other reports saying it could be drug related or gang related. There's a lot of mention of that, and how much in this area gang related crimes were from years ago. But since there's been a big crackdown, we haven't heard that much about it. So, they're talking about back in 2017, 2016, 2017, when a large number of missing teens, um, and there was outrage that it wasn't covered well enough, and that it was gang related. A new task force came into the area, and there hasn't been a lot since, really. Excuse me for one moment. I just have to mute for one moment and get this cough under control. I'll be right back. I apologize for that. I think I'm coming down with something, but anyway, back to the Thursday event, or Thursday into Friday. Okay, so the investigation continues. All right, On Monday evening, um, March 4th, last night, the Suffolk County Police, they actually executed a search warrant to a location, a home, a rental home located on a Railroad Avenue. They did not find any body parts there, but their investigation um, was actually did actually lead them to interviewing several people in the house. Now, some of this arrest speculation comes from them removing people from the house and taking them in for questioning. And that part has been actually confirmed by law enforcement that they did question quite a few people from the house, in that perhaps two are still could have been there today during the questioning. It could have been all night, whatever, or uh, going on, and that may be leading to the speculation that people were arrested. But based on the conversations and the information that they got, not just from the people, but from their investigation and whatever they found in the house, they found no body parts or anything. They're not reporting anything else, but they did conduct with the state police 2 more searches and found more body parts. One body part is rumored to say to be the gentleman's head, which will aid in identification of the 53-year-old male victim. However, they are not saying what the other body parts are, but they are saying they do believe them to be parts of the same victims, the man and the woman found in Southard's Pond. The body parts that were found there. Now, they did use a cadaver dog. I'm not going to list the house. They've been looking at this is a house that was across the street from this house in another park. They found body parts. Now, most of these other 2 search areas that they did today, they are actually 10 to 15 minutes away from the original place that they found the body parts in Souther's Pond. Okay, so they're not like really close. They're like 10, 15 minutes from this house also. The update that was released by law enforcement was that in further investigation by the Suffolk County Police Homicide Squad detectives into the human remains that were found in Babylon on Thursday, the search warrant was executed in Amityville on March 4th. No human remains were located there. Human remains were located in a wooded area across the street from 103 Lakeway Drive in West Babylon on March 5th. Okay. The scene was processed by the Suffolk County Police Homicide Squad and the Office of the Suffolk County Medical Examiner. Human remains were also located at Bethpage State Park. The scene was processed by New York State police officers and the offices of the medical examiner for the county. The remains located in West Babylon and Bethpage are believed to belong to the same victims. The female, 59 years old, has been identified, but as I said, her name is being withheld pending notification. And the male has been tentatively identified at 53 years old at the time of his death. Their last known address was located in Yonkers. However, it's unclear when they last resided there. Based on the investigation, this appears to be an isolated incident with no threat to the public, which they really wanted to keep putting out there. And I don't blame them, because they don't want everybody to be in a panic. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. That's West Babylon, where these body parts are being found. Okay. And they are, as you can see, there is the drop zone for the Gilgo Beach remains. Quite a few bodies that have been found there. That is known to be, like, it was categorized as a dumping area for gang or criminal activity because of its isolation. These were not. They do think that this happened quickly, that the actual whoever is responsible for the dismemberment, everything happened quickly, in that the body parts had not been at the locations they were found for more than a few hours or so. They did not appear to be exposed to the elements for very long. There was no disruption that they could tell. I mean, they're putting out there that they just think that they were just dropped like recently. very recent. Okay. And so, this is the part that intrigues me, is that this area, because of course it's right there in Babylon, New York. That's what caught me when it hit the news. But also what caught me was the amount of misinformation that I'm following. It seems that the only ones that are giving credit that actually the Babylon police have not come out with actually affirmed information are the local papers. Okay. Also, I believe the Washington Post actually put out something that was pretty concise and not speculative, stating that things weren't confirmed. But it sees mass media talking about the arrest, especially like the Post and the Daily News, and even all the way over in the UK, like the Daily Mail, which of course is not, is like a take the headline and run kind of paper, are all reporting about these arrests that there's actually no documentation of at this time. So I'm not going to say yes or no about any of that, because until they actually confirm it, I think if they had made an arrest to calm people down, they would be saying so. But interrogation in interview is not arrest, right? They may have a suspect. Okay, they may be holding someone, but they haven't arrested anyone as like it's being reported. At least it's not been confirmed. What has been confirmed or are what body parts and who they believe they belong to from the ones they found on Thursday. Okay. The ones that they found today, earlier, they are on first comment saying that they do believe they are related and belong to the same two victims. And since the medical examiner was there, the medical examining department was there for both of those recoveries in the two locations today, I believe since they are aware of the other body parts, that they could actually say that, without further testing. But further testing will actually confirm through DNA and all the kinds of stuff that they do. So it's an ongoing thing. There's no definitives here yet, but it's something that I'll be watching, and I just wanted to, bring forward a bit, because I did find, it just drives me crazy, absolutely crazy, the way that the media takes on to these stuff. And there's already people out there in true crime sitting there and showing all the pictures and trying to identify the tattoos and going through it. And like, I do know that they want to find like who is responsible, and everybody wants justice for the victims. Like, I get that, I just like, it just drives me crazy how things just like start taking off. Okay. It's just, for me, sometimes it's just too much. It just gets crazy way too fast for me. Okay, so let me just say hello to more people who have joined the chat. Hello, Liz, it's nice to see you. Sean, thank you for joining us. Steven, it's good to see you too. Hello. Hey, Couch. Hey, Rocky Couch, how are you today? Hope you're having a good day. Fish Nerd, thank you so much for the reminders. Something is missing. Liz Stewart said, I think I saw law enforcement arresting someone either today or yesterday, and even more body parts have been found. Yes, they are reporting there was an arrest, but they actually brought people in to talk to them. And actually, law enforcement will not confirm that arrest was made. Bringing people in, because they did a search warrant on the home that was located on Railroad Avenue, they are saying that they did on Monday night, they did forcibly enter that home, and there were occupants there. Whether they were the renters of the home or whatever is unsure. But it is a home that gets rented. It's not owned. It's a duplex, and they rent that side out. There were several people there. I believe they were all brought in for questioning, as would be standard, correct? Like if you're executing a search warrant, anybody there that you got questions on what's going on, especially with dismembered body parts all over the place, and you're investigating a crime, the homicide, since you don't normally dismember yourself, this is homicide, this is murder. In the one person who actually was coming forward, um, the one name that I do have is the detective. What is his name? There's a head detective of the homicide department in one of the articles that is actually saying that yes, they were questioning people, and they did say that they had identified the 59-year-old woman, but they were holding back the name, and that it is an isolated incident. Okay. um they say that at least two people were still being interrogated, and that was earlier today. um Hours after they initially talked to the first people that they brought out of the house, that is when they instituted a search in Bethpage State Park, okay, and also in a wooded area across the street from the Lakewood um street the Lakewood street address, which is not associated with the house that they had the warrant on. Okay. That street is in West Babylon, and it's a wooded area, not necessarily a park. I couldn't even call it a park. Okay, where they found other remains on Tuesday. Okay, they do think that they do believe that all of the body parts that they found are all related to the two victims. I can say that. I'm just determined to find this detective's name because it's the only one that I have. He did come out. It was Detective Lieutenant Kevin Bayer. And he is the commanding officer of Suffolk County's homicide unit. He said the remains found in Babylon did not appear to have been outside very long, possibly if a few days or only hours. They will not they will not disclose the type of remains that were found on Tuesday. They said they are withholding the names of the victims while their families are notified, but they do believe that the remains belong to the two victims for the body parts that were discovered on Thursday. Um, they did the home that they executed the search warrant on is in Amityville, which is a few miles west of Babylon. And they are clearly indicating that no remains were located during that search inside the house. Okay. Well, that they did then search Bethpage State Park in the wooded area across from this other street on Lakeway Drive. It's Lakeway Drive in West Babylon. Okay. All right. So the commanding officer of the homicide unit is giving out a little bit of information, but not a lot. Yeah, there we go. So thank you for that comment, Liz, because that helped me get more information. It is not just one body; it is two bodies, Sean. It is a man and a woman believed to be associated with everybody, with each other, and that they actually live together at the same address in Yonkers is what was put out in some of the mass media. That they're known to each other. Yep, I saw that too. And yet the police are not confirming any arrests, Liz. That's the problem. That's what I'm talking about. Like mass media is saying this. Some said 4 arrests, some said 2. The only thing that the law enforcement is actually confirming is that people were spoken to. They removed people from the house to have an interrogation, to speak with them. Hmm. Yeah, I know. They keep saying that there were arrests, but they won't say who, and the police have not confirmed it. You know, and I've seen all of the articles around noon today, and actually, law enforcement in Suffolk County will not confirm it. They've actually said they have No arrests to announce was the quote. We have no arrests to announce. Now, that doesn't mean arrests didn't happen. That means they're not telling it. They're not talking to us about it. Okay. That's basically like they're saying nothing doesn't mean it didn't happen. Okay. But also they're not able to quote who's telling them in the reports either. So like I can't say what. Yes, they were found in different parks. Or the ones from today were found in Bethpage State Park, Beth Bethpage State Park, and across the street from a residence in a wooded area, kind of a park-like area, but not a designated park. And then the original 6 body parts that they've identified were found in Southard's Pond Park, which was near the high school in Babylon. There, I have not seen it documented by the medical examiner yet, but they do believe they found the man's head also in the second remains that were found, but that hasn't been confirmed. They did confirm that they found the woman's head, but no torsos. Absolutely no torsos. Yeah. Yeah, Liz, it is terrible. You wouldn't be letting my kids go to the park. I understand that, and I think that's why law enforcement is coming out and saying it's an isolated incident. And it's probably more than likely related to a domestic problem, in the murder. In that it's isolated. It's not. They're trying to quelch the gang-related part of it right now, but there's no way to know. There were tattoos on both of the arms that have been stated as belonging to the male victim. No tattoos on the woman arms. Okay, they did find two legs, two parts of legs, I should say, in the head of the woman in an arm, and they found both of the man's arms. This is from the original group of parts that they found on Thursday. I don't even know what to call it, like body parts, exactly, dismembered. I mean, I guess we will. I'm waiting for more. You know what it is, Liz, is that I don't like to report exactly everything the mass media is saying unless they list their sources, or I can find the written documentation through the court system or officers doing a press release, from the county. And I'm sure they will, because this does have a lot of people upset. And so definitely they're going to come when they have something, they're going to come out, especially if they've made an arrest and they have some concrete evidence as to what they believe happened, so that people will feel safer in the area. Mhm. I'm glad you came back, Sheil. No problem. Okay. Hey, dog. Nice to see you. Sounds like Dexter. I have to say, the dismembering part, maybe. But Dexter is very clever. He would not be leaving them out in the open. Remember, he disposed of everything and he didn't really get caught. Like, he didn't get caught, did he? No, he didn't. So, I did love that series. Not to make light. This is really serious. I feel for the families that are having to wonder if this is their family or another. I hope they contact the relatives of who they believe the victims are. And that I'll be following this. I'm sure there'll be more, so if you have other questions in regards to it or things you want to check out, you guys hit the back of the comments on the video. You know how to get in touch with me by DM, and all of that. And you can definitely do, but we'll be following it. It's ongoing, no arrests made, although they do say that there's a suspect, and that is where the talk of it being a domestic violence type case. One of the comments that's been repeatedly made is that it's believed that the woman was having an affair with the 53-year-old man, and the suspect is actually her boyfriend, and killed them both. And there was even some speculation that the woman's body showed signs of aggression in regards to that, which could be leading towards the domestic violence type of situation that they're talking about. It does seem to be a domestic situation from what they're saying, but until we actually get the documentation and all, if they arrest him, they will do an affidavit of arrest and lay out exactly what they think happened. And then we'll be bringing that up if we can get it. That's hard to get in New York, but I'm sure the papers will at least give us snippets of it. And we will actually go forward from there. But for now, it was just all the confusion that was going out there that I was just trying to get through. Rocket Couch says, I have my own wild theory on this. What if the killer themselves leaked the multiple arrest thing so that the public doesn't look for them? This is true too. You never know, because that is actually something, misinformation gets done like that when criminal cases, organized crime, and in gang-related cases a lot, doesn't it? Like, so you never know. You never know. I just think that if it was more organized by a group like that, it wouldn't have just been left around the way it was everywhere. It's spread out so much. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Hey, Jasper. Nice to see you. All right. So I do have 2 other small updates. If you don't have any other questions, I'll give you a moment just to see. And Liz, I do hope we figure out whether the arrests actually happened or not, or who they arrested. I'm going to keep my eye out on it. It just gets confusing. Yeah, I wonder if her autopsy will read like Anna Nicole Smith. I'll not drop that. It's yeah, I get the medical examiner has all of them. I guess we'll find out. But it's good to see you, Jen. Yeah. It's complicated. When it came to Anna Nicole Smith, like, it took a while to figure out all of that too, didn't you? And there's still a lot of conspiracy rumor around that one also. So we'll find out. Hopefully there'll be more information coming within the next weeks. Okay. But on that, I do have a little bit more for you, if you'd be so kind. There was a little bit of update in Keffe D. This is Duane Davis, otherwise known as Keffe D, who has been arrested in for Tupac's murder. And we've been talking about this case back and forth, and he has now his new lawyer. His new lawyer, Mr. Arnold here, has actually got his court date moved to November 4th. We were going to have a trial. In June. But this is his third attorney. Okay. And because he is saying that all the discovery has not been released yet, he has petitioned when he went to the arraignment for Duane Davis here to actually get, to talk about the bail. He does believe that they're going to be able to post the bond and get him, and he's going to be released on house arrest if he can make his bail, and he'll be monitored with a device and everything, and be on house arrest to be a little more comfortable. Duane Davis is a older gentleman, okay, and this case is 23 years old, right, or more, or is that it? But as I say, this is a criminal defense attorney, Mr. Arnold, and he's been doing a good job. And the other thing that I want to show you on this, if you'll bear with me for a second, is I'm going to bring up an interview we did, because I want to hear you speak. We were talking about the attorneys and how they go about their job, correct? Like I remember us talking about these, and some of you were curious as to this new attorney, and I didn't know a lot about him, but I wanted you to hear what he had to say about the case, about what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Arnold, good morning. Would you tell us what happened in court today?
Today was just a simple status check. What we were talking about was the discovery that has to be turned over I have not received all the discovery on the case. Additionally, since I haven't received the discovery on the case, the date of June had to be vacated. We set a new trial date of November 4th. So hopefully we'll get the trial done sometime this year.
Mm-hmm.
So may I ask, there was something mentioned of habeas corpus that you're, but would you explain that to
Right.
the
A habeas petition is after the grand jury comes back with their indictment, a petition can be filed by the parties, well, by the defense in regards to not enough evidence was presented to the grand jury, or there was problems with the evidence that was presented to the grand jury.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to make that decision as to whether we're going to ask the state for extension, but at this point, we're kind of okay with where the grand jury came, and we know what supported their decision. So we probably won't do a habeas petition, but we'll still review it.
It seems like Mr. Davis was concerned about making bail, and there was concerns of his about his family's safety. Can you expand on that at all?
Yeah, he's not concerned about making bail. Bail will be made. What he was concerned about is just the media attention, because the judge ordered a source hearing, and in that source hearing, someone's going to have to come forward and testify in regards to, where the money came from. They just don't want to be put on the news. He has family members that, you guys haven't taken pictures of and everything. They just want to maintain their privacy. So that's why he has those concerns.
Can you explain briefly how you intend to defend Mr. Davis in terms of the public statements he's made about what he said he was there, the things he made? We've heard from his public defenders. You're now his attorney. How do you intend to defend him?
Well, the statement part is really easy in regards to a defense. Right now, the state hasn't provided any evidence to corroborate the statement that he's given. I'll give you an example. I could sit here all day long and say, I shot JFK. I can say, I was in this building. I had this rifle. I can even produce the rifle that actually shot or was involved in the shooting of JFK. But would I be convicted of that? Absolutely not. JFK was assassinated in 1963. I was born in 1967. And so there's no way that I would be convicted of that. The same with the state. They have to provide evidence, number one, of a gun, number two, of a car, most importantly, that Mr. Davis was even in Las Vegas at the time. Right now, I can be forthright and say we haven't seen any of that evidence.
Okay.
What made you want to take on this case?
Well, it's the biggest case that since OJ. Why wouldn't you want to take this case on?
Exactly.
It's going to be a historic case. I think it's a challenge, again, with the statements that already came out. And to win this case, again, would be, quite an accomplishment.
Are you confident he's going to make bail and get on house arrest?
Yes, I am confident that he'll make bail.
When could we see a source hearing?
I would say within 30 days. That'd be a safe bet. I mean, I'm getting phone calls from potential people that can put up the bail. And so I would say within 30 days. Hopefully something's nailed down this week. By Friday, I have a phone call to the bail person this afternoon. And then from there, I'll file whatever motion that's appropriate and then go ahead and have the hearing.
So may I ask, one of the things that we saw today was your client obviously very vociferously fight for his freedom and insist he's innocent. As we stand here today, what is his sentiment about this matter, about the killing, the case, him being accused of being a killer?
I mean, in summary, it's just like I said, there's no evidence that he was involved. He did what Detective Kading did. He put out a book and he made money. I mean, even the state's main investigator that testified at the grand jury said this is all about making money, and that's why he put out the book.
So that's his stance still. I did it for money.
Correct.
Now, you know, okay, let me just, all right. I'm going to actually let you guys finish the rest of that. It's very, very interesting. I'm going to put the link down here. I am going to put it on the description of the video also. But we have talked about this before, about the last time that we spoke about this, that this new attorney was coming forward with, there is nothing in the discovery to date that can corroborate anything that Keffe D actually said. Now, Keffe D has released statements for years saying he was in the car, he got the gun for the people in the car, that he may have aided and abetted what happened. He's got gang affiliations very high up in the organization, and he was the lead, the head of the gang that was opposing Tupac and Suge Knight, and it was related to two different music companies, okay, record companies at the time. There was a lot of allegations of Tupac having an interaction with the nephew. It's the point being that Duane Davis's own statements are what were used to arrest him. Now, they did do a search of his home and said they had found some collaborating evidence and went forward with charging him. However, the attorney is not seeing anything that actually corroborates the statements that Duane Davis made that they're using to incriminate him. Now, that's an interesting defense. I did it as entertainment. That's what it was, entertainment to make money. Like, I expanded on the situation. Yes, I was in the gangs, no doubt about that. I've been arrested before on things like that. My affiliation, there's records to support that. But about the shooting, how are they going to prove he was in the car? This is so many years later. We already know that no one else in that car, the white car that is accused of having whoever shot Tupac in it, and the people associated with it in it, he is the only survivor, Duane Davis. And as far as the sedan that Tupac was in, Suge Knight is the only survivor of that. And Suge Knight has come forward and said he's not testifying for either side, willingly or not. He doesn't do that. He's not going to do that. Okay? So there you go. So on this, I think this is an interesting angle, and that's what I wanted to play. I also wanted you to hear the new defense attorney, because he is a very well-respected criminal attorney. And like he said, these charges are from a crime from so long ago. It's a very high-profile crime. It's been going around for a long time. Who shot Tupac? Why was no one ever arrested for this? Why didn't they care about gang-associated murders? Murder's murder, and there's been a lot of stuff swirling around it for years and years, and a lot of rumors. And so, everyone got excited when an arrest was made. Okay. But to prove that arrest is going to be something. And was it just because that Duane Davis, did they just get tired of him just taunting them with the facts of the case in front of their face, or what? It's going to be interesting what they can prove. So I am going to try to follow this the best that I can. And I do hope that this is one of the live hearings that we will get to cover, because I think it's going to be very interesting. I do want to see this gentleman, Mr. Arnold. I do want to see him in court. I want to see how he does that. I think he's very well spoken. I think he's got the right angles on this, and I think he's going to do a good job for his client. He already has. It also, the other point, we never think about this. Because of Duane Davis's admitted gang associations, anyone that could have come up with bail or to be associated with him would have to be on the actual court documents. And maybe they didn't want to. Duane Davis himself, he says he's moved on from that life. He's older now, lives a quiet life with his family, and he has nothing to do with it. That he's done his time. He's over with it. But who would want to get associated with it again? We're talking about people who've moved on. They have their lives, Why put them in jeopardy of the reputation? People like the attorney said. Taking pictures of them, flashing their names all over the place, making them part of the case. We see how that goes. We see how that goes. So here he is, like having to worry about his family putting up bond for him, that they're going to get tied into this, and they may be affiliated with gangs again, and this, that, and the other thing. It is something of consideration there. That I thought interesting to bring forward again today, especially since he had done the interview. But I have one more for you today. Let me go back to my presentation so I can bring up the picture for you. Okay. All right. So, okay. We our other rapper or music associated murder, or not murder. This was a kidnapping and assault. This is Lee Carter, Viper, if you'll all remember. And he had his bond revoked. He's got charges of intimidating a witness and violating the protective order on the witness. They got a bond hearing coming up to throw. And since then, there's unfortunately been the release of another woman. He's accused of July in 2021 holding another woman hostage and assaulting her 10 days after he had kidnapped her. Kidnapped her is what they're saying. Okay. Here's the article on that, which I will be linking in the description below. Okay. Of the video. But anyway, he's been charged again. Okay. So this is getting more and more convoluted. If you'll remember, he was first charged with kidnapping of a woman who actually they had gone, and she called for help in April of 2023. And they went and found her in a boarded up garage makeshift bedroom with a bucket for a toilet and a mattress for a bed in such disheveled, horrible shape. She weighed about 70 pounds. That was the first charges he was up against. That woman was taken to the hospital that April, and she was cared for there, but was released. And when she was released into his custody because no charges were done. So she went home with Lee Carter. She went back. Okay. It took them until January to arrest him on these charges after investigation because they had trouble with statements from the woman, with finding out where the woman was. He's accused of abducting this woman while she was pregnant, but there is nothing in the court documents on whether she had the child. There are statements from other people that say that he has had other children with this woman he's accused of abducting, this first woman. During their investigation, they found another body on the property of another deceased woman who died of liver disease, not related to a crime or anything. Well, why was there a dead body on his property? Buried. Now, she may have died of natural causes, but they can't tie him to that. But that's odd. Okay. And now we come just last week that he's charged again with July 2021, another woman that he kept for weeks and assaulted. Well, she was got away, but now that she's heard what's going on, she's actually come forward to give an affidavit and testify. So the case is getting weirder and weirder. Now he says no. He actually came forward and said, "I've only started living in the house like 13 months ago, so it couldn't have been me keeping her there for 5 years or whatever." The first woman. Okay. The police have come forward and say one of the reasons it took so long to charge him and it makes this case so complicated is that the woman keeps getting removed from the premises by complaining that she's held against her will, but then goes back. Okay. They think that he has some control over her. She's said that there were drugs involved. And there's definitely some kind of situation there. Relatives of Lee Carter aka Viper, have come forward to say that he actually visited them. I think it was his father came forward with an affidavit that said, he actually visited me with this woman, and they were like girlfriend and boyfriend. She was like, she could have left, But the police are saying the situation is more than that. That if you could see the woman during certain times, you do believe that she's being held against her will. Who knows? Okay. But because she kept going back and getting released. Now, this time, since he's been charged, there was a protective order put in place. So when she was in the hospital again, and he was calling her while in the hospital to try to come to get her, the police were actually there talking to her at the time. And so they knew he violated the protection order and he had contact with the witness, the victim. And so they reported it to the court and he had his bail revoked. Okay. Sticky situation. Well, there seems to be, the case itself is great. It's just, it's a bit nuts. Let's just say that. Okay. He also has a new attorney. Okay. They're looking to secure another $200,000 bond on top of him for these new charges, by the way. And he was supposed to be arraigned. I do believe he was arraigned on March 1st, but I can't find the actual documentation of it yet. But I do believe they would have just like put the to put the actual bond forward and everything. They wouldn't even there would have been more about it if he was released. His new attorney is Murray Newman of Newman and Chappelle. He says that he joined the rapper's team after a previous lawyer left the case. He said that he can tell us that the circumstances surrounding this case are complicated and pretty strange, to be honest. We are going to begin our investigation into it immediately, but until we have done that, we don't have an official comment or statement on the case. But already he's saying the circumstances surrounding it are very complicated and pretty strange. And I got to say, I definitely would agree with that. There's no doubt about that when you start reading into this. Like it is. Okay. We know that, he was arrested for that kidnapping of a homeless woman, prior, and holding her captive for 4 or 5 years under pretty harmful conditions. And there are law enforcement statements from officers themselves that found her in that condition. And they're saying she was like 70 pounds when they took her to the hospital. In that the place that she was kept was filthy. She was visibly filthy. She had no shoes. She was disheveled. She was a mess. There was only a makeshift toilet. It was like a bucket. It didn't flush, She said that all he gave her was junk foods and stuff. And from their statements, they said what they found were fresh vomit, bags of chips and Twinkies, empty bags of junk food everywhere, vomit. It did look like it was going to be. But anyway, I can't believe that there's now another woman, They say that woman was from July of 2021 and that his intent was to keep her for sexual abuse, and that she is saying that after 10 days of being held against her will, that was of the approximate of when the assault actually happened that he's being accused of. Okay. A very similar crime to the other, except for this woman was no longer held for the years that the first woman was saying. Conditions are horrible, though. It is a case that I cannot actually wrap my head around. By the way, the woman's body who was found, she was a 61-year-old woman. Her name was Catherine Roberts, and that was discovered last July, and that she allegedly lived in the same garage as the other woman. But there's no other information about that right now. Okay. Hello, Recker. Hey, Mousy. What is the age of the woman's body that was found was 61. The other age of the woman, it is not listed in the article, but I believe I reported it to be in her 40s. But this new one from he's accused of abducting a woman identified only by her initials in the arrest warrant for on or about July 4th of 2021, and they do not give you any details about her. Like, they want to keep her identity secret. They're not releasing the identity of the first woman also. And that's very common when there is assault in the charges. That's very common. Right. So let me just go through for comments. And there was that was the article for the link I dropped before was the article on Viper. Okay. No, actually, I don't think I did drop that. The last one I dropped was the attorney for Duane Davis. So this one is the actual article on Viper, just in case I didn't actually drop it. I can't see that far back in the comments. Let me just look. I'll dig a little deeper, Liz, if I can find the actual age of the victims. I will add that to the other presentation that I have on this case. Yeah, Mousy, I'm not opening an investigation into your duck problem. You guys can all forget that. Like, I ain't doing it. That's it. I got enough. I got enough with murder and mayhem up here. Like, you guys take care of that in the chat. Like, I don't really want to get involved with it. All right. I don't really. All right. Sean, I'm thinking that there may be others too. If he's a serial assaulter. But then again, his ex-wife, which is kind of odd. I remember reporting prior, and it's kind of stuck with me. His ex-wife came forward, and he has children with her, to say that the woman who is making the accusations of being kidnapped for 4 to 5 years was actually the woman he left her for. Cheated on her with, and they went through a divorce. Now, during their divorce, she said that he was mentally abusive, physically abusive, and they couldn't live together anymore. Like, he was just horrible. Well, now she's coming forward saying he's a kind man and a good father, and he never laid a hand on her. But actually, some reporters had investigated into the divorce proceedings and say that was not the case that she claimed prior. But now she's coming forward saying he's a decent man. Okay. I don't know. I bet there may be others. I mean, we do have this one from 2021. I wonder, he's older, a little bit older now. I'm wondering. Mousy says, yes, there was that one man who kept those women locked in his home for years. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more common than we. They say that people, and then you don't know about it until they get out, or you find them after. Actually, yeah, I do remember a lot of that. I do. And we hear about it a lot. People, kidnapped, assaulted. A lot of the times, not a good outcome. We just end up with bodies, okay, in murder cases afterwards. Both, these long-term assault cases, people being kidnapped and held for this kind of reason. This is just sick. I mean, I just can't even imagine they think that they're going to get away with it, but a lot do. So there we go. So if you don't have any more questions, I know I'm going to be back tomorrow because I have a few more cases to update you on. I'll probably be back a couple of times this week because there's a lot going on. There's still the Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer from the Rust set for the shooting death of Hanya Hutchinson. That we want to bring you up to date on. Some things have happened on there. The state has rested. The defense is up now. We're going to be going to verdicts and give the case over to the jury to deliberate pretty soon. But I want to bring you up to date on a few things that have happened I was going to be doing a talk in the Discord afterwards, but as you can hear, my voice is going and I've got a bit of a cough going on. So I'm going to cancel that one until later in the week. I'm sorry if you were looking forward to it, but I just think it's better to preserve my voice to be able to come back tomorrow with the other things we want to talk about. There's some things on Andrew Tate. There's also some stuff on the TikTok psychic, the Danny Masterson, quite a bit to go over. So on that, I think I'm going to say good night. That's our hour. I hope you all have a really, really great night. And I will be back probably around the same time tomorrow. Okay. And I will update the video, not only with the timestamps, but with the article documentations for some of the information. We don't have legal documentations yet on the arraignment for Lee Carter or the bail hearing that's going, for Duane Davis. But when we do, we're going to put them there. And if there is anything else in regards to the Babylon bodies, parts, any arrests or anything forward, we'll be coming forward with that too. But like I said, I want to see some confirmation or some statements from law enforcement themselves before we actually confirm that anybody's been arrested, because everybody's saying it. There's no names, there's no confirmation, there's no interviews with officers or anything. Everything's kind of tight-lipped. So I really don't want to put any misinformation out there. I will just say that there's a lot of conflicting information between mass media and the local. If you go to the Babylon patch, they will say that when they contact the police, they say absolutely no arrest has been made yet. And they have no statement. But they also say those words. They have no statement at this time. So who knows how far they are along with it. Okay. So there we go. Everybody, y'all have a great one. And I will be speaking to you soon.